Welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we dissect the Railway series. I'm Jamie.
I'm Marina.
I'm Vivian.
And we hope you enjoy the show.
Man, isn't it fucked up that Terrence made it into All Engines Go before Bertie? Despite Bertie being such a popular and marketable character for so long. It's funny, Terrence just appeared a couple years ago, got nothing, appeared again a couple years ago, got nothing, and then all of a sudden he started getting merch and shit, and he's in Go. They put him in that one awesome motorized pack, which I still maintain is the only good thing to come out of not merchandise, the only good thing to come out of motorize in that transitionary year between Trackmaster and Egg, other than Paxton getting literally anything. Then, he's supposed to be in that All Engines Go barn set, and now he's going to be an Egg. What is this timeline? I'm curious what they're gonna do with him, because I genuinely feel like the reason they haven't had Bertie is because they don't want to commit to normal cars, because the engines just go off the rails. Yeah,
Terrence is gonna be the racist country bumpkin who has a ton of weird accessories that shows up occasionally.
No, I don't want him to be that.
He's going to be.
I live in Texas, I get enough of those people daily. That's exaggerating, but I still don't want Terrence to be.
Terrence is going to be Texan.
But yeah,
gonna be what they're gonna do with Toby.
In the words of Ross Austerity Engine, friend of the podcast, the engines in All Engines Go essentially just act like lorries. Using the British term there because it's more applicable, I guess.
And they're all fucking horrid.
They only pull one truck at a time. They go literally wherever. It doesn't matter that they're on the rails. They're just cars that happen to ride literally between, because the animation is so bad, some steel rails.
I can go anywhere. Yeah, bitch, so can we.
Yeah. I feel like the only road vehicles that really have a chance of making it in are so far we've seen Terrence and Darcy. And I feel like Terrence is the only non-pack character who really has a chance of making it in. Because I could see, them putting in Jack, because he at least has, a gimmick.
No, listen, at this point, I'm genuinely expecting Thumper.
That would be funny.
That would be really funny.
We're gonna get Thumper, and he's gonna have his first line before Edward has any speaking roles.
I'm so excited for Giant Go Toby.
I am too.
I want to see this so bad. I've said this before on the podcast, I genuinely wasn't sure if they would do it, because they would have to commit to it.
Yeah, but now it's not a problem anymore, because they have fucking, they have fucking, Big Whiff and Big Ashima and Big, what's-his-face, Salty.
Yeah. I feel like with, Ashima, Whiff, and Salty, to a degree, them being bigger than, significantly bigger than Thomas and Percy is slightly less jarring than Toby, who,
Yeah,
Toby
they used to be the same size.
The thing is,
they shared a shed once upon a time.
Yeah,
I feel like what they're gonna do with Toby is, all the engines barring Ashima are, location-specific characters. So you got Whiff at the recycling plant, Salty at the docks, Terrence at the farm. I think Toby's gonna be the quarry guy. I don't know if there's a quarry in All Engines Go yet, but I feel like they could add one and have Toby as the designated character there.
No, I said in the pre-recording, before we started, Toby's gonna be the old swamp hermit that Thomas runs into when he gets lost in the woods. And he's gonna be super old and wrinkly, and he's gonna be deaf, and he can move at 2 miles an hour. And he lets Thomas into his big elaborate train home, where there's just tracks everywhere into a kitchen and shit. And it's gonna have a picture of him with Henrietta on their wedding day, and it's gonna be implied that Henrietta is dead, and that's why he lives in the woods, because his wife is dead.
He's the only other one that acknowledges Boxy as a sentient being, but he actually thinks he's alive.
No, he thinks it's his wife.
Also random, but apparently Young Bao only appeared twice before leave.
Every day I get closer and closer to doing I watched All Engines Go so you don't have to. Like, I thought of that as a joke, but I keep thinking about it more and more, because man, that would get so much clout from people who hate All Engines Go, because I'd be doing all their work for them.
If you want to see Jamie do it, join the Discord and tell her to do it.
Yeah, do that, I guess. We've been forgetting to plug the Discord a lot lately, but yeah, join the Discord. We haven't introduced ourselves yet. Hi, welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we don't get to the point. I am Jamie, the Queen of Sodor, she, her.
I'm Marina, a local TV series bet she, her.
I'm Vivian. She, they. I have a Bachman Toby now, and he makes me very happy because he's a little guy.
Yay.
You could say he's square.
God, I can't fucking wait for N-Scale Toby. Okay, one last Go related thing. One last Go shitpost before we get into the episode. I promise this is a segue, though. We were talking about it before the podcast, but I'm gonna, say it again here for the audience's benefit. I think what they should do, if they ever get, permission or whatever, to write an episode about Edward, is, have the backstory for him be that he was, the one who, trained up and looked after Gordon and the other, big engines currently on Sodor, Henry, James, Emily, etc., when they were the age that Thomas and his friends are. And now that Gordon is the one doing that, Edward comes by, and Gordon really wants to impress him by, showing how good he is with raising these kids. But the kids keep making trouble, and Gordon is like, oh, fuck, he's gonna think so poorly of me. And at the end of the episode, Edward's just like, oh no, Gordon, you don't need to worry. I know how hard it is. You were particularly bad at that age as well, but you're doing a good job. And then it ends on Edward threatening to tell. Well, not threatening, but, Edward being like, alright, kids, who wants to hear about the time Gordon did this embarrassing thing?
No, I thought that wasn't canon anymore.
Oh, the indignity.
Random thing, but apparently, they mentioned Henry is mentioned by name in one of talking Percy's Percy's voice lines.
Huh.
Which is interesting.
That is interesting.
I don't know why.
I feel like it makes sense that Henry would get I feel like it makes sense that Henry would get to appear at all first, just because I think they could also give him a location gimmick where he's the forest engine.
Yeah, I could see that.
Henry has an episode about how getting baked is okay, and he lives in the forest smoking weed.
He's still Toby's
so
only
disappointed.
Friend.
I'm still so disappointed they made James, the other adult, and not, the teenager the kids go to when they want to know what sex is.
Yeah, God, that would have been so funny. Anyway, Bertie's Chase. It's a second story.
Is it?
In Edward the Blue Engine, the 9th book of the Railway series, written in 1954 by Reverend W. Awdry. It is the only book in the Reverend's original run to include a second appearance by one of the various road, non-rail character he invents. Which is very interesting, honestly. Because, a lot of those... Well, all those characters basically got more episodes in the TV series.
Yeah.
Terrence came back in Christmas Party, but, that was something the TV series did first, and then Reverend did his spin-on after, so, that makes sense. They wanted more Terrence content. And then Trevor and Harold each got more appearances in the TV series penned by Christopher, and Terrence and Bertie also got appearances penned by Christopher. This is the only time the Reverend, in his original run, did a second thing with a road vehicle. It's very strange. And,
Yeah.
I used to think this was one of the weakest stories in the book. I don't necessarily feel that way anymore. I think it's pretty good. I think years of complacency led me to feel that way. I I would not say it's the best story in the book, but, it's fun,
It is okay.
I think Bertie's...
So back to All Engines Go.
No!
No,
I'm
no, we
joking.
can't.
I'm joking. But in seriousness, I do wonder what made Audrey decide to have Bertie show up again. Like, was this based on a real thing, or?
Well, I'm certain that like buses chasing trains was something that happened at least once.
Yeah, the story is apparently based on an event that took place in Ireland. I don't have anything more elaborate than that. I think that's just what the wiki says. So, it's based on an event that took place in Ireland, but again,
I'll ask my dad.
like
Hang
V
on.
said, this is, not an uncommon occurrence, I'm sure.
I'll just ask.
Yeah,
I'll ask my dad. My phone's dead. I can't ask my dad.
Oh well.
We'll die not
What a
knowing.
shame.
I guess I could see like Audrey like having heard of like some incident, being like, "Oh, I could write a story about that," and he's like, "Oh yeah, I have a bus. Might as well, I guess."
Yeah.
We know Audrey thinks electric engines were like Solus snakes and diesels were diesels, but what did he think of Cars?
Well, he had
The movie
one.
franchise.
I think... I feel like Audrey would have thought of them much like that one Tumblr post I really like thinks of them, where like, trains are good and honest creatures, but buses are duplicitous and evil, and I do not trust them. And then someone replied to that post saying, well, of course they are. Trains don't have to deal with cars on the road. That shit corrupts you.
I feel like
Bertie
I
has
just
just been corrupted to kill.
I feel like were Audrey alive now, he would be on the Cars 2 team in the Splatoon 3 Cars Splatfest.
I feel like like if Audrey was alive today, he wouldn't want to be. I don't mean he wouldn't
would
want to be on a
fucking hate
Splatoon team.
Cars.
I mean he wouldn't want to be alive today.
Of course, he would not want to be on the Splatoon team because the Splatoon has the gays in it.
You damn kids and your gay rights.
God.
I'm probably gonna edit this out. I'm joking. I should clarify though. I don't think Audrey actually thought that.
I mean, he might have.
I hope.
We have no way to confirm or deny, and I do not want to pursue this rabbit hole further.
Okay.
Well, no, we do know what happened. 'Cause clearly he's okay with it, because he spent time hanging out with Sleepy Henry in Vegas, rolling fat stacks.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She slapped his ass herself.
Bertie's chase. Peep, peep, we're late, fussed Edward. Peep, peep, beep, beep. Where is Thomas? He doesn't usually make us wait. Oh dear, what can the matter be? Sang the fireman. Johnny's so long at... Never you mind about Johnny, laughed the driver. Just you climb on the cab and look for Thomas. Can you see him? No. The guard looked at his watch. 10 minutes late, he said to the driver. We can't wait here all day.
For some reason, I thought my brain immediately went to when you were like, can you see him? No. And the story just ends there. Like, that's it. That's the end.
Can you
So the
see him?
TV version of this episode has a bit of like expositive dialogue before letting the dialogue from the book take over, which makes sense and adds a bit of context to the goings on.
Choice.
Yeah, it's a good change. I like it when the TV series has good changes. Also,
It's
the
shame
song
it's so
that
rare.
Sydney Heaver sings here is apparently an Old English nursery rhyme. So I'm going to quote Wikipedia here. What Can the Matter Be, also known as Johnny So Long at the Fair, is a traditional nursery rhyme that can be traced as far back as the 1770s in England. And, it is on topic, because the song is about waiting for someone to come back from, like, a fun fair, and Edward and his crew are waiting for Thomas to arrive. And when I was doing notes for this, I went on YouTube and listened to a ghastly group of children singing this song. So, for context, so you will appreciate my over-explaining of this, because there is still trauma here.
Oh no.
Good God.
There are some scars we can never heal from. It's interesting that they kept, like, all the dialogue and stuff between the, like, driver and fireman and all that in the TV version, because like, that's the kind of thing that almost always gets cut in these stories, in the, like, early adaptions for obvious reasons, because the models couldn't do shit. We now know that was in the fucking Bible for the series, so, like, actually getting it in is nice.
Yeah, well, I really like that in the TV series, that, like, the driver and fireman were talking and, like, joking around, and the fireman just fucking climbed up on the roof.
Yeah. Because he's, like, full standing on there.
The TV episode did cut their names, though, which makes me a bit sad.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
They need to depersonalize them to some degree.
Yeah, humans don't matter in the world of Thomas the Tank Engine, only the trains.
Well, yeah, haven't you ever watched Thomas?
Trucks do not have morals.
They are not part of the moral world.
I wonder if that still applies to the two trucks and go.
Absolutely, based on what I know about them.
God, that'd be so fucking funny.
Do they have names?
No.
No, they're just trucks. One of them has a mom, apparently, though. Anyway, I just really like the atmosphere of the page, because it feels very impatient. With, like, you know, Edward and the crew and the guard.
It feels like something we don't really get much, where, like, they actually try and somewhat give the crew, like, characters and interaction.
You know, Edward's crew are
engine,
like,
if that makes sense.
Edward's crew are like the most developed human crew we have in the entire series, because it's like, you know, you can tell the driver is generally the one that calls the shots, and the fireman's a bit of a jokester. Like, it's not much, but like there's something there.
Yeah, there is literally anything here, and I wish that, you know, there was more of this, considering, you know, a lot of the times drivers do, like, the crews do play a heavy role in the story sometimes, so I wish that there was, like, you know, kind of more of this sense of them being actual people and not, you know, just stagehands that have to be there.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's, like, either do something with them or don't have them at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At a certain point.
Look again, Sid, said the driver, just in case. The fireman got to his feet. Can you see him? No, he answered. There's Bertie Bus in a tearing hurry. No need to bother with him, though. Like he's on a coach tour or something. He clambered down. Right away, Charlie, said the guard, and Edward puffed off. Toot, toot, stop, stop, wailed Bertie, roaring into the yard. But it was no good. Edward's last coach had disappeared into the tunnel.
Yeah, Sid, I bet there was nothing important going on there, huh? Not like that's a big mistake or anything.
They never acknowledge that this episode is, or this whole story is entirely the fireman's fault.
I know! I wish so badly that there was, like, a CGI recreation of this. So that at the very end, the driver would just, like, you know, turn angrily to face Sid.
No, I'm just imagining they're all on the platform. Bertie's exhausted, and Edward just slowly looks over.
Sorry about that, Bertie. It's alright, Edward. It wasn't your fault. Yeah, no, I know. It was the fireman's.
Yeah! I feel like if Bertie was legally allowed to say fuck, he'd be screaming it the entire time he realized he'd missed Edward.
But I think Bertie is the kind of character who would say fuck.
He would. Like, he'd just be like, fuck! No! Come back!
This is the thing, like, you know, we're getting ahead of it. Like, on, like, the next page, it pretty much is just him going, fuck, 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 fuck you, Thomas. Fuck's sake.
Yeah. Yeah.
This whole story is just him having a really shitty day.
It really is. It's great.
Oh, I love Bertie so much.
So transitioning into nerd shit, Bertie's license plates here in this story say CRD 54, which is a reference to the book's illustrator, see Reginald Dalby, and the year of the book's publishing, 1954. And when they did all the shitty character model updates in season 23 of Thomas, they added that license plate to Bertie.
Which was like the one of the only changes I didn't fucking hate on that update.
Yeah, like I really like that. I also very much dislike that he became ribbed for our pleasure.
He became a ridge dildo and they got rid of his stripe.
Yeah, like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? The stripe was cool! I don't care that it only existed for one illustration in the original book. Like, it's so much cooler than him just looking like a big red-ribbed blob.
Oh shit, he doesn't have the stripe.
Yeah, it's fucked
In,
up when you realize shit like that. But, like, the stripe
No, I
is
mean
cool.
in the books I didn't realize he didn't have it.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't a frequent thing in the books, but it was a really good choice, and I'm really happy they put it in the show. I fucking hate that they got rid of it.
Yeah. Also,
They
the
had
wing
to make him
mirrors.
realistic. So,
Guys,
realistic.
we stuck a bunch of M&Ms onto the sides of the characters. Are they realistic now? No.
Rivets.
Anyway, Charlie and
Rivets.
Sydney.
Yeah.
I like that they have names.
Do you think that they've
Charlie and
explored each
Sid.
other's bodies?
I think so, and I think that at some point for their crimes they got isekai'd and reincarnated as engines. And that's why Charlie and Sydney are in the TV series, and why there was that weird episode where Charlie appears with Edward for some reason.
Damn. That's so deep.
So would that then
that's-
imply that during the time in which the change happened, Sydney's legs had been cut off?
What?
Think about it for a second. I know you can do it.
No, I don't get it.
Sydney,
Because of Sydney
Sydney
wheels.
and fucking Day of the Diesels. He has no wheels.
Oh, I don't remember.
He's been up there for about 2 years.
Everybody bully Mari for her minor mistake.
I'm sorry, I haven't watched Day of the Diesels in years.
What? You
haven't
mean you're not regularly lining up to rewatch Day of the Diesels?
I watch it every night.
When I got back into the series, in like 2016 or so, I did rewatch like all the specials that were out at the time. And that included Day of the Diesels once. I don't remember shit from it. I specifically avoided Misty Island Rescue because I just didn't want to do it.
God, that's based.
It's like I can't. I'm not strong enough.
Yeah, that's fair. I like how Bertie is drawn in this illustration.
Yeah. I like his face.
I like Bertie's face being a
Hog.
little bit smaller than the radiator. I think that looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a neat take on how like I guess the Dolby books didn't really do it, but like the later ones where the engines kind of their faces don't take up the whole smoke box.
Yeah, it's just the door,
Yeah.
really. I also
It's
like
neat.
I like the station master points and like, oh, sorry, mate, you just missed him.
Yeah. Also,
It's
I
weird.
feel like I need to say I vastly prefer the faces on the road vehicles being actual faces consistent with the trains,
Yeah.
and not the weird eyeballs in the front lights.
The
shit.
only one I like that for is Caroline,
Yeah.
because I've not liked literally any design that changes that on her.
I
Yeah.
think with Caroline and a lot of road vehicles that are cars, basically, like normal, like not like bus tractor type cars, is that it's very hard to fit a face on them without it seeming really tiny and weird.
Which is why Ace
Yeah.
looks
Like,
like
it's
shit.
Yeah, Ace has grown on me, but it's like there isn't really a way to make a rally car and it doesn't look weird.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Like, whenever I see Caroline, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. It's like when I see Brum, it's like, yeah, no, that works. You've done that well.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I'm imagining Brum, but he has like a person face on the radiator, and it makes me sad.
Oh, that's upsetting.
Yeah. Bother, said Bertie. Bother Thomas's fireman not coming to work today. Oh, why did I promise to help the passengers catch the train? That will do, Bertie, said his driver. A promise is a promise, and we must keep it. I'll catch Edward or bust, said Bertie grimly, as he raced along the road. Oh, my gears and axles, he groaned, toiling up the hill. I'll never be the same bus again. Toot, 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 toot! I see him! Hooray, hooray! He cheered as he reached the top of the hill.
Thanks for that clunkily delivered exposition, Bertie. At least it came from you and not the narration. This way it builds character, you know?
Yeah, I do like the mention that, like, Bertie's doing it for Thomas, because, like, they're friends and stuff.
Yeah.
They add a little scene at the end of the TV episode.
Oh, I love that scene.
Where, like, Thomas is like, oh, thank you, Bertie, and then stares at the camera awkwardly for, like, 20 seconds.
I was going to talk about that at the end of the book and talk about how, like, weird it was, but, I'll save that for later. God. Like, I just love this so much, and I really wish... Like, firstly, before I get into how much I love just, like, everything that goes on in this page, firstly, I feel like if we were to get a CGI series adaptation of this, or hell, even a big world adaptation of this might be better, I feel like this would be the imagination sequence, where Bertie shows up to Thomas, and Thomas is just weeping and begging Bertie for help with the world's tiniest violin playing.
I need me passengers delivered. Oh, please, sir.
Bertie, help me, please! It's just so horrible! Not to worry, Thomas. I, Bertie, the big strong bus, will save you.
They bring back superhero Bertie from the Free
Yes, exactly.
And then Annie and Clarabelle are on either side of him, and he's got mad bitches because he's Duke Nukem, but he's a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody please draw Bertie, but he's Duke Nukem, please and thank you.
Someone needs to make a fan story with the title "Always Bet on Duke, Baby."
Oh, you were gonna do that.
No, because the only ideas I have for Duke are making him the racist grandpa. I'm using him ever.
Listen, I still want you to make Listen Dookie.
Duke is like that problematic relative that like everyone just kinda awkwardly lets talk at Christmas, but also really doesn't want them to keep talking.
I don't think that's canon, Duke. I think nowadays I'm gonna have to side with the people in the comments on episode 1 saying that that's a bad that's not who Duke is.
I know it's not who he is. I just find it funny.
The reason that he still calls them Stuart and Falcon is because he doesn't believe engines can change their names.
No. I don't think he ever does call them Stuart and Falcon in the books. Actually, does he do that during Chris's run?
I don't know. I don't think he speaks in Chris's run.
I don't think he
That's
does.
fair.
Also,
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think at this point Bertie has ever traveled off the Farquhar, like, section of the region before? Like, how far out off route is he right now? Has he ever traveled this far or this fast before?
Well, the implication I feel like in the first few pages is that they're at Knapford.
Yeah.
So he's been to Knapford before. But
maybe.
I feel like Bertie's mostly like a regional bus. Like he just kind of sticks to his lane.
Yeah, I think so too.
Is Bertie owned by a company? Or...
I believe.
I don't think it's ever explicitly stated, but I'm pretty sure that, like, within the fabric of the universe, it's reasonable to assume he's owned by, like, the Sodor Roadways, that is a subsidiary of the Northwestern Railway, which is part of British Railways.
Yeah, I think Sodor Roadways is canon, but you shouldn't quote me on that because I can't tell you for certain.
Yeah, it's not all that fleshed out.
That makes sense.
I always, but what I've always liked is the idea that he's owned by like a small little local bus company that's based in Knapford. So like, it's like him, Algie, and Bulgy, and that's pretty much it. It's always what I've kind of liked.
I always found it interesting how in Thomas and Bertie, the TV series version, there's like a couple buses in the background that look just like Bertie.
Yeah, they made like a little
Yeah.
dummy to put in the background. I think you see that in some season 4 episodes as well.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they show up for a long time, just in the background of shots.
I think they're at the city of Truro, like, welcome, city of Truro, Great Western, number of fucking dickballs. You know what I mean? You know the shot I mean?
Yeah.
Special holiday. Edward's at Crosby. This is Crosby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Crosby Station cargo truck?
Yes, the Crosby Station Targo truck. I can't words apparently. But this is kind of something like a little tiny thing I noticed. In the book, Edward doesn't get onto his branch line or past Wellsworth before Bertie catches him. In the show, he starts at Wellsworth and ends at like Sudbury. This is like a weird little thing that like they just shifted it up by a couple of stations.
This TV series map may as well not exist. Honestly.
He's reached the station, Bertie groaned the next minute. No, he stopped at a signal. Hooray! Hooray! And he tore down the hill, his brakes squealing at the corners. His passengers bounced like balls in a bucket. Well done, Bertie, they shouted. Go it! Go it! Hens and dogs scattered in all directions as he raced through the village. Wait! Wait! He tooted, skidding into the yard. He was just in time to see the signal drop, the guard wave his flag, and Edward puff out of the station. I love
got
the
blue
idea
balled.
of Bertie just causing chaos in this small village.
Yes! Oh my god! God, I understand why it happened. I cannot stress this enough. But the TV series so hardly undersells the ferocity of this chase. And again, I understand completely. There really wasn't anything they could do with it in the model animation department. But man, it just totally undersells the story. Like, this would be awesome to see done in CGI.
It's the kind of thing. This is the thing that makes me significantly prefer the book version of Percy's Predicament.
Oh yeah, God, I can't wait to get to that. That's a fun story.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's like, they obviously couldn't do it, so they needed to be they had two options: either be clever about it and like use like a mix of narration and visuals to kind of show what's going on, or the route they took where it's just like a lot of like footage of Bertie racing around set to music.
It's like
it's like,
we can't blame them for doing what they did, but it also makes the story feel lesser than the book version, really.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where like they kind of, if they couldn't do it, they should have like tried to give a little bit of flair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like even if just with like some narration and like some visuals and stuff, like they could have just had a guy going like, "Oi, you, slow down," or something. Like, yeah,
like,
it just kind of ends up underwhelming.
If they wanted to be like cute, what they could have done is done a little bit of foreshadowing and have him cut Trevor off.
Yeah, which I think they do that for the race in
Three Cheers for Thomas?
Yeah, I think they have Bertie get stuck behind Trevor.
See, I'm just imagining him charging through the town, and we get like a 2-second shot of Trevor about to take a turn, and Bertie just cuts him off at the intersection.
I guess it's because Trevor's supposed to be in the scrapyard.
Yeah, but you could mix it as like that's before he's been sent. You know, they were using James.
Yeah, no, I'm joking.
Before fucking Thomas of the Breakdown Train happened.
I know. I'm joking. I'm making a realism joke.
You're making a funny hat?
One thing I love about this is the passengers are cheering Bertie on through all this, despite,
Yeah,
being
I like that too.
bounced around like peas in a frying pan, as per the last Bertie story. And I mean, it makes sense, because he's like, doing his best to get them on their train.
He's really trying, and like it's neat that it's like instead of like being dicks like you would expect from a lot of these stories, they're like, yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
So, Bertie's doing this to help Thomas's passengers, right? Imagine how fucked the bus schedule is when he gets back.
Oh man, that shit's gotta be irreparable.
So he's like...
That's actually where Bulgy comes in.
I'm just
Oh,
imagining, like... Okay, no, if this was a CGI episode, the ending would be... He goes and he tells Thomas everything's okay, and then the bus manager shows up and it's like, Bertie, you're 2 hours behind schedule! And then,
Oh shit, gotta go.
and then he has to just keep racing for the rest of the day.
I want to say I'm really glad the like arc seasons brought back kind of like actually using Bertie, because I feel like in a weird way, like even in kind of like the classic series and the books, like it's well, I guess especially the classic series, Bertie was always like one of the most marketed characters, but he never really did much.
But he felt very segmented.
He was just kind of there. But in the CGI series, they started to like use him in, well, I want to say more varied ways. But I remember at the time there was a lot of criticism about how it seemed like Bertie was only there to race Thomas occasionally.
Listen,
which
to this day, my favorite appearance Bertie ever made in an episode was just the "Stay there, Bertie." All right, I won't move then.
I know a lot of people hated it at the time because unrealistic, but like I like the other side of the mountain because it's basically not gaslighting, but like
just gaslight, keep go, boss.
It's like
other side of the mountain's
he didn't lie.
I don't care that the crash is stupid. It was a fun episode.
It's a fun episode.
Yeah, those last
really
couple
good.
episodes of season 19 made people go like really hard against it, and I feel like that was unfair.
Yeah.
Season 19 is good, you're all just mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, season 19 is really good.
His passengers rushed to the platform, but it was no good, and they came bustling back. I'm sorry, said Bertie unhappily. Never mind, Bertie, they said. After him quickly. Third time lucky, you know. Do you think we'll catch him in the next station, driver? There's a good chance, he answered. Our road keeps close to the line, and we can climb hills better than Edward. He thought for a minute. I'll just make sure. He then spoke to the station master, while the passengers waited impatiently in the bus. I don't like the phrasing "in the bus."
Yeah, in the bus. Not like the bus has a name or anything.
I don't like how that's phrased with the understanding that Bertie is sentient.
Yeah, like that's such a weird way to phrase it.
Why did you do that?
Why would you deperson him? Stop that.
He is just a machine and nothing more.
Damn, the Mega's history repeating be like Bertie the bus.
God.
That's a joke only
machine.
That's a joke only me and Jamie will understand.
Yeah, but you can understand it too if you listen to the Megas.
They're
very
a great
good cover band for Mega Man tracks, and they like do cool story shit with it.
Mega Man's really cool.
In the words of Bertie the boss, I gonna do what I should have done a long time ago.
So, like, something else the TV version adds to this episode is they add a line where Bertie's driver, like, tells the people, yes, we're gonna do it this time. And the passengers are all like, hooray! And it's like, I feel like that totally undercuts the tension of the whole chase. Like, I get why they did it, and it, like, kind of goes well with the triumphant Bertie theme they have in that final stretch of the episode. But, like, I think I prefer the, like, uncertain tension of the book.
Yeah. The implication is supposed to be that, like, the The driver tells the station master to call ahead, right?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is what it is, I believe.
Which, at that point, you really wonder why they didn't do that to begin with.
Well, I guess they thought that they would actually have made it on time and that fucking Sydney Heaver wouldn't be a colossal idiot.
I'm just imagining now
Sydney Heaver.
Yeah, no, Charlie Sand and Sydney Heaver.
I forget they have full names.
Yeah. I'm just imagining now fucking Charlie and Sid go to the bar, and fucking Bertie's driver is over the other side of the bar, and they try to go over and talk to him, and he's just like, no. No. Not right now.
Not in the mood today. This is a weird thing to bring up for a Thomas story, but this is the kind of story that wouldn't make any sense if they had cell phones.
Oh, totally. Because they would have just called.
I mean, in fairness, I don't know how good the cell reception would be on Sodor.
Yeah, they are kind of in the middle of dipshit nowhere.
Still, though, you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know what
Yeah,
you
I
mean.
do. And it's very funny, just thinking that, like, you know, like at that point, like, Thomas's driver could have just called in sick to work, and they could have, like, already gotten a relief driver in there for Thomas.
I do love the
Do you think Thomas was
implication
just-
that, like, the firelighter got Thomas steamed up, his driver arrived, and the fireman just didn't show up. Like, he didn't call
I don't know,
in.
maybe.
He didn't call in. No one knows where he is. He might be dead. It's just they don't know where he is, and they're like
Yeah.
to the bus company, "Hey, can you send Bertie? We really need to get these people to Edward."
Yeah.
Is the implication supposed to be in the TV series that, like, Thomas was just stuck in that siding all day? Because that's kind of what I always
assume
thought it
so.
was.
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe the driver like moved him there, like single operation.
Bye, Thomas. You're stuck for the day. Okay.
Fucking. Sorry, Thomas. Jeff's out at Vegas slapping Wilbert Audrey's ass in the casino. We can't take you out today. What the fuck?
This hill is too steep. This hill is too steep.
Grumbled the coaches as Edward snorted in front. They reached the top at last and ran smoothly into the station.
Pip peep.
Whistled Edward. Get in quickly, please. The porters and people hurried, and Edward impatiently waited to start.
Peep.
Whistled the guard, and Edward's driver looked back. But the flag didn't wave. There was a distant toot toot, and the station master, running across, snatched the green flag out of the guard's hand. Just love the idea of the station master being like, no, not again, no.
Yeah, he just runs out and grabs it.
Just snaps it in half, throws it into the sea.
Again, this is like the third time we've said that on a page, but I really wish that they had shown this in the TV version. Like, especially in this case, 'cause I feel like they could just, like, have a little still frame of, like, a guy snatching the flag, and that would be sufficient to, like, tell what's going on, as opposed to just
Slaps
Edward
the
sitting
whistle out
still
of his
for a little
mouth.
bit.
He grabs the flag, snaps it on his knee, and throws it in front of James, who's passing by.
That was a little overkill, don't you think?
Yeah, like, I
The
was gonna use
dramatic
that later,
effect.
man.
We only have so
we
many
have
of
a
those.
spare, probably.
You know, we only have so many of those. Back Control only gives us so many.
This railway's budget has to be insane with the amount of shit that gets destroyed every week.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a fun one.
It is very fun.
I think the theme.
like,
I think the theme that this book is establishing is stories that aren't particularly in depth, but they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is the pattern so far. Again, like I said this last time, and I said this at the beginning of the episode, like, you know, I used to kind of just acknowledge this as, like, you know, just a story that was fine, mostly because I just, you know, kind of coasted off knowing the TV series version, but then, like, actually doing the notes for this story, it's like, oh my god, this is so much more fun. What happened here?
It's the TV series version really undersells it because it's just a lot of like engine moving places and bus moving places.
Whereas
Yeah.
like in the book, there's a lot
There's
of like
only, like-
fun little comedy bits and like little character interactions.
Yeah, it's the narration that kind of like the bits in the narration are what kind of really sell it.
Yeah. I think one thing the TV version does have that the book doesn't is I really like their use of Bertie's theme throughout
Yes,
the
I
entire
love Bertie's
episode.
theme.
Yeah,
Like, Bertie's theme's a fucking bop.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Also something. God, I forgot to put this in my notes, but I feel like this is like a good. This is a really good second story for Bertie because the first story establishes that Bertie, Bertie will occasionally have fun racing around and stuff, but this time he's racing for a purpose to help people, and I think that's a very noble character thing for Bertie.
yeah.
Like,
He's
he's
racing,
not just
but
doing
it's
it for
not
kicks,
fun.
it's because he cares.
I like
Racing
the
for
part
charity.
in Bertie's theme where it has the little honks. That's good.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so good.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Bam,
Beep
bam,
beep.
ba-da, ba-ba-ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da. Beep, beep. It's good.
As a kid, I always found it really weird that, let's have a race isn't
It
Bertie's
should have
theme.
been.
But, it should have been. There was, one Season 7 episode where they had, an instrumental version of Let's
And
Have
Mari
a Race
loved it.
in an episode. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love it
Yeah,
too.
it's-
I'm so mad that we didn't get it in the US, because we never got the good music. The Hit Era fans can fucking suck my toes or whatever.
Maybe
I don't
something
care.
might be into that, Jamie. Don't offer that.
That... Oh no.
Oh no.
The Mike and Junior music is almost unilaterally better than the hit model era music. The only exceptions I can think of are I wanted to say one or two of the Season 7 character themes, but I think it's just Emily's theme that's better in the hit model era version.
I like. Oh, I have a soft spot for a lot of the hit model era music in the hit model era, but you can tell it wasn't really it. The season 6 and 7 episodes weren't really composed with
See,
it.
I still
mind.
don't get why
Yeah,
they didn't keep Mike and Junior.
Yeah, I don't understand either. I feel like some of the character themes in the hit model era are they're fine, but they're not good and they're not better.
That's the thing, I feel like
Is my
if Hit
thing.
hadn't fired them, Mike and Junior would have stuck around all the way until CGI.
Oh, probably.
I mean, they're doing Thomas music still, so they probably would have stuck around as long
Yeah,
as they were
which,
able to.
yeah.
Fucking is so sad because I get Hit wanting to go their own direction, but what harm would have been done by keeping the music?
Yeah, especially changing the opening theme is so absurd, because, that is the single most iconic thing about the
And
TV
literally
series,
anytime
is the
literally
opening
anytime
theme.
someone who's a musical expert listens to it, they're like, "This is insanely well composed."
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a bad choice.
It's like that. It's like the one
does the music
article,
currently?
which is like. At first, I sort of liked the way that the melody of the children singing mashed together with absolutely no melody whatsoever. But I realized that by saying that, I was not only betraying children, but betraying childhood itself. It's a good article.
I
All
don't
the
think I've ever
trains in
read
my
that article,
son's
but it sounds
Storytime podcast ranked by how much I hate them.
God.
Which was the one he hated the least?
I believe on either Nia or Gordon.
Yeah, either Nia or Gordon.
I know he liked Cranky,
He-
I think.
One of them, it says, I will be the first to admit Cranky the Crane is not a train. He still makes my list.
Yeah.
I love...
I love the one about
Wait.
James, though, because it's it compares it compares it to, like, the first thing filmed was, like, a little silent film on a train, and people screamed running out of the theater because it was witchcraft. And this is prescient years later, because he wants to do the same thing whenever James appears.
I love the ending of, that's my list, I do not wish to discuss the trains any further.
Yeah.
I found the article. I love the number 9, Nia. Nia is the least objectionable, possibly because she's afforded so little airtime.
Yeah, honestly.
Sums up that era about...
Yeah, I like the Gordon one, too, where it's like, Gordon... I appreciate Gordon because he seems to be very into the core business of being a train.
Just for this reason, he doesn't rank higher.
Yeah.
Then, everything seemed to happen at once. Toot, toot, toot! Bellowed Bertie. His passengers poured onto the platform and scrambled into the train. The station master told the guard and driver what had happened, and Edward listened. "I'm sorry about the chase, Bertie," he said. "My fault," panted Bertie. "Late at junction. You didn't know about Thomas's passengers." "Pip, peep. Goodbye, Bertie. We're off," whistled Edward. "Three cheers for Bertie," called the passengers. They cheered and waved till they were out of sight. That's it.
God. I'm so glad the passengers cheer for Bertie. Like, he fucking deserves it.
He did
He's a
so
fucking
well.
champ.
He did it.
Yeah. And, like,
do
we've been
wish-
talking about it throughout the entire episode, but again, really, really want that expanded adaptation of the story. Like, a CGI version of the story, where, as Edward and his crew listen to
they
the
slowly
story.
start to look at
Edward,
Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, maybe instead of having, like, maybe have Edward ruefully apologize instead of just smiling gormlessly, like in the episode. Typical season 2 with the wrong face masks. And then just have, Charlie angrily turn and look at Sydney disapprovingly.
No, I'm just in my mind's eye. It's like it's Bertie's driver explaining because Bertie is just collapsed unconscious in the background.
Yeah, he's just
And
gasping
then
for
it's
breath.
It's like a shot of Edward and with the two drivers on his side on the platform, and you just see both Charlie and Edward just slowly turn. Just very slowly. No one acknowledges it. Sid's still looking at the driver for Bertie, and then he just looks, and they're both staring at him.
Yeah!
God. It's a shame, because I feel like they could have added a bit more, like, dialogue to the ending scene in the TV series episode. Like, I feel like...
Well, they probably wouldn't have time for it, because they added the scene with Thomas at the end.
They could have trimmed that. They could have trimmed down the, 20 seconds of him just staring at the camera.
Yeah, Bertie goes back to tell Thomas he kept his promise, and, that's nice on paper, but it's so awkward, because there's no dialogue besides Thomas just saying, "Thank you, Bertie, you're a really good friend." And then they just hold on to the shot for way too long.
They don't make... I feel like they should have, maybe had a scene in the beginning where Bertie offers to do it, then cut to the Edward and his crew stuff.
Yeah,
and
that
then
would have been better.
End,
I think.
had an actual "Oh, thank you," Bertie.
Bertie's
No,
I know how to make it even
no
better.
Problem.
I know how to
You
make it
fucking
even
owe
better.
me.
Thomas's fireman shows up after Bertie's shown up.
Yeah. Yeah, Bertie goes to where Thomas was, and he's just not there.
Well, I think it'd be funny if if Thomas's fireman shows up immediately after Bertie leaves with the passengers.
Yeah.
It's still a good thing Bertie's going, just because, the passengers would still miss their connection otherwise if they only just started going when, he left, but still.
He was very high.
I'm just imagining, fucking Thomas's fireman coming into the yard, "Hey guys, sorry I'm late, my car broke down, I'm really sorry." And then we see Bertie peeling out of the yard, and Thomas is just well, this isn't gonna end well.
Yeah.
And then at the
God.
and then at the end,
Rip
there's like a
Bert.
2-second shot of a wide shot of Farquhar Yards. Just, what do you mean he showed up?
Yeah.
That would have been really funny.
God, this is such a fun story.
Yeah.
Like, let's move
Yeah, let's
into
do
rankings.
rankings.
So, I'm gonna say the story for the millionth time because we're at the end of the story and I need to give my summary. I came into the note-taking process, expecting this to just be okay, like the TV series version, and like there wouldn't be much to write home about, and like give it a Percy or something. But like, just reading it and like having it's so much fun, and like a lot cooler, like when you really take a genuine look at what it is in the book. And my prior non-opinion of the story lies solely at the feet of the TV version. I don't think, well, I mean, I was gonna say I wouldn't go so far to call it amazing, but honestly, like, it is really good. So I've been, like, debating between giving it a Toby or a Duck. I'm feeling generous, so I'm gonna give it a Duck. I'd meant to say this at some point earlier in the episode, but I guess now we're in the summary section. I might as well say this, even though this doesn't really have anything to do with my enjoyment of the story or how, like, how good I think it is, but I feel like this is definitely the story in this book that is the worst culprit of not really being about Edward. Like, theoretically, you could replace Edward with any engine and it'd be the same. But, I don't think that is necessarily a knock against the story, because, again, regardless of who was filling that role, it would have been great. It's just got Edward in it because this is Edward's book.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not necessarily a knock against the story or the book, but it is... I guess that's kind of what results when you have Bertie as the main character.
Yeah.
But yeah, similar to you, I think it doesn't help that I did, even when doing my notes, how I normally do it is I listen to the book, like, take notes on that, and then, do the TV series version for, like, comparison notes, but, like, yeah, like, the TV series version of this episode is weaker, or story is weaker, but, like, I like the original version. Toby, probably. It's fun. It does everything it needs to, and I think it's a case where having the narration and everything that comes with a book, like, adds a lot to it.
I'm actually going to be very generous, because I would actually say I'd give this a Donald. So I just really like this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I just, it's not particularly in-depth, and I think we've made that quite clear. It didn't take us very long to get through this at all. We're, like, barely over an hour. And if you take out all this...
And half of that was talking about
If you cut all the stuff
Yeah.
that, like, it's gonna be cut, we're probably gonna be in, like, maybe 50 minutes. This is gonna be a short episode. But, like...
Yeah. But hey, that means all the fun is condensed.
But it's just... I had a lot of fun
Exactly.
recording this, I had a lot of fun reading it, I had a lot of fun listening to it and watching it, like, to kind of get my feel for it. It's a good story, and I like it a lot, and I like Bertie, and I like Edward, and I like this story.
Yeah.
It is.
So our scores average out to 8s across the board again, because, like, V had the extra point and you had the one less point.
Oh, shit, yeah.
That's wild.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. So next time, we are going to be looking at the third story in this book, Saved from Scrap, which introduces another road vehicle character.
We should invite my
Boy.
mum, because Trevor's her favorite.
Trevor's
Have
nice.
my
I
mum
like
on
Trevor.
as a guest.
I promise I won't derail the next story or the next episode with fucking the morality of the Thomas franchise.
I like the upcoming one. I think we'll have fun with this one.
Yeah, I think, again, like I was saying at the beginning, I feel like, by process of elimination, now that I no longer think so poorly of Bertie's chase, that's probably my least favorite episode. Least favorite story in the book. Like, I don't think it's bad. I think it's interesting, and it definitely, like, it definitely strikes me as a kind of thing that, like, accidentally ended up, like, being a bit of, like, a, what's it called? Like, a more, like, it, like, thematically speaking for the rest of the books, it, like, sets up a lot of, like, what happens going forward, but it definitely doesn't read like it was planned to do that much. It's just real life happened in a way that
But
made
I think
it
we
like
should
that.
leave that for another day.
Yes.
You get mad at me
Yeah,
when
but
I
it's
say
funny
that.
when I...
Well, no, that's not the stories from
It's-
Sodor quote. If it was that, it's like... God, I fucking
But I
forget
think
what Victor
that's-
Panzig says.
But I think that's a story for another day.
It's funny when I do it because I'm
Whoa.
funny.
We all know
Wow!
that's a lie. Hi, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Enjoying the Discord.
I'm done. I quit.
Oh, no!
Oh.